Hello everybody, I hope you're having a good day. Today I'm going to be talking about the update that just came out with the Fullmetal Alchemist collab. Took me by surprise, I'm not gonna lie. I remember the event ending on the 10th, but I guess they rushed things, and maybe a memory glitch for me, but I remember they were going to talk about ending things on the 10th, not the 4th. So it is very interesting to see this happen. And I guess I kind of was right. Considering that there was another event, they weren't able to add the Fullmetal Alchemist collab event, but because of that event, if it wasn't for that event, they would have added it right after the guild battles, and now they have, now that the event has ended. Now that it has, player cap level has been increased from 185 to 190, so that way you have a little more cost, so that way you could kind of support the upcoming 35 cost armors. Not 35 cost armors, 36 cost armors, and 35 cost weapons. And on top of it, they don't really add any notices, whether it's in the forums, I believe, or in here. But for the step up spawn, they have added Kairat, Lady Beatrice, Aquarius, Holmes, pretty much all these 34 costs are in here. The funny thing is they have no 33 costs in here, and I am unable to identify whether you could get these 34 costs in the 10th step up when they guarantee an SSR gear. So I am unaware whether you could actually obtain these easily. Well, I'm not going to say easily, but with like actual rates or not. Even if you don't obtain these through the last step up spawn, you still have a chance to obtain these. But the chance to obtain these, well, you already know the rates of getting an SSR. And when you usually do, it's almost never a monster. So with that being said, it is still possible to obtain these monsters through the step up spawn, even if they don't add it from the last step up. But it's going to be extremely hard. Like said, there's a lot of other stuff in here that push down the rates for these monsters anyways, and even if they didn't, I'm pretty sure that the SSR rates wouldn't be too high in the first place. I mean, they don't even show the SSR rates in the video point spawn, which is kind of stupid. But anyways, they did add the 34 cost, so that's nice. That's one, even if it's a small step, it is still a step towards rescaling free-to-plays with pay-to-wins. So that is pretty nice. They obviously don't want their game to end. They're not adding too much effort, at least yet. But at least by like thought or heart or consideration, they may not want their game to end, at least yet. So I think this is their message for pretty much what they have going is, I know that people are upset with this, we don't want this game to end yet, so we're willing to do at least something about it. I'd still work on rescaling a team, but it's pretty nice to know that you guys have added something extra for the video point spawn, like per se, for example. You might have added 34 cost, but where are the 33 cost at? What you can do for the 33 cost, and what I would recommend, is add them with everything that's already in the guaranteed step up spawn to the guaranteed step up spawn itself. Not the 34 cost, but just the 33 cost, or at least some of the 33 costs. Not all of them, but some of the 33 costs to the 10th step up spawn. So that way it's kind of easy and obtainable for people to actually earn pretty dang well gear. I mean, you did take away the rupee spawns, so it's kind of hard to obtain that stuff nowadays, at least. With that being said, to the next part, the Fullmetal Alchemist collab. Those are the only two things I know that they updated. They don't really go over anything else updated, so if I missed something, let me know. If I missed too many things, I might do another one of these update videos. Anyways, going on from there, with the Fullmetal Alchemist collab, they offer gear spawns and they offer events that will only be here for a limited time. Whenever a collab comes out, they usually have the AP for Reforge and Augment quest, so that's very nice. And on top of it, they add what did they add on top of it? There was something else they added on top of it. If I could find it. They add gem purchase specials. They add sometimes different types of recommended packs. This time it's an AP recovery pack, which is kind of stupid. I'll tell you about that in a second. Then there's 50% more XP for efficiency and gold. So now is a great time to farm that stuff. I don't recommend rushing the XP though. As for the XP, you kind of want to be careful with that, especially if you have keys. If you're not using keys, then go ahead and do it as much times as you want. But if you're using keys, I want you to be careful with that, because you only have a limited amount of keys. And then I already talked about that. And the augmentation grade success rates are up. Now, as for why the AP thing is useless, if you look at these two monsters, the only two monsters you can farm right now is Fullmetal Alchemist Edward Elric. You'll get him right away on your first day, but you're going to have to awaken him. That's why this thing's popping up like it is, because you're going to have to awaken Edward Elric to his UR form, which is shown in the description for the details in this game. And then the second one that you can farm right now, at least, you'll be able to farm Wrath later, or yeah, his name is Wrath, King Bradley, I was thinking for at first. But right now you can only farm Gluttony and you can only farm Edward Elric, and they both are, I do not recommend farming them. They are pretty much useless unless you want them for the art. You want them because they're Fullmetal Alchemist, or perhaps you want them for the encyclopedia. Other than that, I don't really recommend them at all, like ability wise. If you have Arthur and you have Arthur unlocked to the point where he increases stats by 50%, he is already a better monster. The only reason never mind, I'm not even gonna say that, because if you use Arthur compared to Edward Elric, Arthur doesn't have a Dermot. He increases all stats, not just attack and magic attack, but all stats by 50%. I'm pretty sure he does something else on top of it that's still useful, so even if he doesn't recover cost, it's still useful. And on top of it, he's a higher cost than Edward Elric with unlocked potential. So if you were to use him in Unison battle compared to Edward Elric, guess who would win? Arthur, not Edward Elric. So it's so stupid, and it's kind of pointless to be even getting Edward Elric, especially if you have your Arthur infused, like I think it's like 2 to 3 times. You have it infused around like 2 to 3 times, where it can increase all stats by 50%. If you don't have a lot of good monsters, like if you mainly only have like maybe 2 or 3 useful monsters, sure, getting Edward Elric can help, but pretty much for the most part, getting Edward Elric is going to be useless. This monster is useless, and I don't really recommend it for, I'm not gonna say everybody, but most of everybody out there that is thinking about this collab, unless you again want it for like the encyclopedia, the fan art, or just because it's Fullmetal Alchemist. As for Gluttony, same thing goes for Gluttony, except Gluttony is a higher cost. Gluttony's abilities just decent, like literally just decent. Like I'd say probably equal to, like, not even equal to Sukiya, Salamander, Yashimaru, stuff like that. But you can literally see they are just decent. And some of you might argue, oh, but it's 35 cost, so you could use it for Unison battle, right? It's a time monster. I do not recommend throwing time monsters. Time monsters are the worst element choice you can use for a Unison battle. Reason for that being is they have 2 weaknesses, not 1, but 2 weaknesses. And guess what those weaknesses are? Light and dark. Some of the most common monsters you will find on the battlefield will be light and dark. The chance of you getting a light and dark team, just light and dark, you don't need just 2 lights or 2 darks, but light and dark. The chance of you getting a light and dark team is not uncommon at all. It can probably happen once every 2 or once every 3 or 1 every 1 guild battles that you play off as. So popping this monster would be the highly dangerous choice, highly dangerous, considering they already came out with 35 costs. If this was a 40 cost, I would understand if it was a 40 cost monster, but it's not a 40 cost, it's a 35 cost, and we already have 35 cost out in gem spawns. So I do not recommend farming Gluttony. Not useful for Unison battle score, not useful ability wise, just not useful at all. They say they have Bradley's outfit as a prestige reward, is a prestige ladder rewards, but I cannot find it. As for the events and stuff like that, if I could go over there, they have 3 missions out for right now for the Fullmetal Alchemist collab. The Elric Brothers and the Philosopher's Stones is pretty much the story mode one, so if you're looking, it's pretty much to unlock like the face and the hairs. so that way you can change your face and hairs to whatever you unlocked Fullmetal Alchemist collab was. And then they got some gears right here that'll help you awaken Edward Elric as well on top of it. So definitely, if you can do this, recommend doing this for everybody. These missions are really easy. Really, there's not much of challenge. There's probably little to no challenge involved in doing any of these missions at all. So you really have nothing to lose. There's no strings attached. There's no side. There's no ands, ifs, or buts about it. Just complete the mission and you're good to go. Anybody can really do these missions. These two, on the other hand, these two are a different story. For this one, you're going to be farming two things. You're going to be doing prestige rewards, which I recommend doing gluttony a lot more than the homunculus, I think. Nah, I think gluttony offers more prestige. I'm not exactly sure. I think I read something about gluttony offering more prestige. Let me go double check for you guys and gals. You can also earn prestige points. Crazed, oh yeah, they have crazed versions of the monsters. They will grant extra stuff or whatever extra. This one will grant extra philosopher stones. Well, not philosopher stones, but crimson stones, which I will talk about in a second, and they appear at this time. And then this one will earn extra prestige points. Yes, you will get more prestige doing gluttony than you will lust, or not lust, but whatever it's called. I can't even name her mission. Brother Homunculus. So you'll be able to get crimson stones, a lot more crimson stones here, and you'll be able to get prestige here. That's pretty much what you're going to be earning. Besides farming for the monsters, farming for the yellow monsters, gluttony and Elric, you're going to be going after prestige, and then you're going to be going after philosopher stones. As you can see in the prestige rewards, this is what they offer. They have cosmetic metal exchange, or they have cosmetic exchange metals, droplets of ether, and this is where you earn gluttony. Now after you get to 5,000 with Envy's hair set, it's pretty much going to be repetitive, and there's nothing really special to earn except maybe the furnitures. If you're looking for the furnitures, they have the awakening orbs, gold, all this other stuff, yada yada this and yada yada that you could probably earn through the metal exchange as well, or the box spawn. I believe you can earn them through the box spawn. It says box spawn A. Yes, you can earn them through the box spawn. It says box spawn A, so keep in mind it looks like they're going to be adding another box spawn at the second half, I believe. This is only the first half. The first half will end in about 8 days, so keep that in mind. I will be talking about the spawns later on today. It might be a bit late, I'm sorry. It's going to be a bit late that I'm talking about them. Anyways, going on from there, as you can see what you can get from the prestige rewards, you can increase your prestige. Best way to do prestige is do gluttony, like said, and attach whatever these are as well on top of it. They will grant you extra prestige. And if you have Roy Mustang, you will be able to get bonus cards on top of the extra prestige you will be earning. So, best time to do it is during when it's crazed, I meant to say. You're doing the crazed gluttony, and you have these stuff attached, or some of the stuff attached. That is probably the best time, and that's probably the best way you're going to be earning prestige for gluttony. The next thing is the philosopher stone. I have collected the philosopher stone just for this video. I checked out the events. I played these events before they actually, not before they actually, but anyways, going on from there. I'm sorry about that. I'm pausing a lot because this is pretty much a long video and they hit me hard with this and I wasn't expecting it. But anyways, going on from there, I made sure I did the event a little, test things out so that way I could give you guys at least some info on the event before you go full dive in. This is what the Crimson Stone fragments give. You can get Crimson Stone fragments or Crimson Stone. If she is crazed, if she's in her crazed form, I think you'll be able to get straight up Crimson Stones, because I have not exchanged any Crimson Stone fragments for Crimson Stones at all. And then you're going to be using these for the box spawn. Now, the only thing they offer special in the box spawn is this 32 cost armor right here. That's literally the only thing they offer that's even remotely close to good. So if you don't have 32 cost armors, or perhaps you need 32 cost armors or higher, I'd recommend doing this. If not, then the only reason I would even recommend doing this is it's easy XP stuff, it's easy platinum stuff, and you're getting easy tapsies and possibly SSR tickets, so that way you can kind of get more medals for the medal exchange and then earn that Azure stuff or the 27 cost stuff. That's the only reason. I mean, you can do this stuff. It can be helpful. They do have awakening orbs. They have ethers. They have multiple things you can get that might be occasionally hard to obtain. I'm not going to say hard to obtain. Occasionally hard to obtain. So you can do it for the sport. You can do it for some of this stuff. It might not be as helpful as some of the other events that have been by, but they still do have some stuff that's helpful. But if you need to do something like, say, level up your crystal, get proficiency, increase gear score, I'd recommend going after that stuff, because there's not much that this collab offers that will be helpful in total. And on top of that, if I haven't gone over it yet, they have the login bonuses, so every day you're going to be getting a login bonus. And for the awakening, Edward Alric will be a part of the awakening. You're going to awaken him here. With that being said, I hope this helped out, and I will see you in the next video. This is the Azrath. I'm out. Peace.